think people get angry and resentful when they do things simply because that's what they were supposed to do, or tradition says they're supposed to, or society says they're supposed to. When women or when people have kids and they're just doing it because that is what they are supposed to do, I think that that is where the resentment comes in. I am a mother. I know that motherhood is challenging, but I wanted to be a mother. And there are women who do not want to be mothers. And if they were to just have kids simply because society said they are supposed to have kids, those are the women that become resentful. And imagine being the children of those people. Now, also, when a woman is child free, there is a whole contingency that comes at her talking about all of the regrets that people will have or that she will have and tell her that she's selfish and it's her duty to do this, this, and that. And it is, I know it's getting tiresome to those women to be pushed or to be challenged simply because they are not going along to get along, which is what many people do. So that is what this woman is talking about. When you are child free, what things people say. And I think it is very selfish to have kids simply as a retirement plan or to have kids so that you'll have someone to take care of you when you become old. So go ahead and watch this video.
Don't want children, one of the most common things people will say to you is that when you get old, you'll be alone. And I think a lot of people genuinely believe this. And I think part of the reason is that people don't realize how alone most old people are, even when they have children. The stats vary, but somewhere around 60% of nursing home residents don't have any visitors in a given year. And most of those people have children. So when you don't want
So the woman who posted the video is not the woman that was in the video. She says a few things. This is not me. This is not my video. I've tagged the creator. She is wonderful in the child-free space, in the financial space. Check her out on YouTube. She is answering the question the child-free are asked all the time, who will take care of you when you're older? She mentions stats, and you'll see in the comments, these facts are validated by personal experience of those who work in elder care. And also, women understand that you can build community, build your relationships with your friends, your other family members, create the community if you do not want to have children. And even the people that do have children still need to create community because children will grow into adults that have their own lives. Number three, in my opinion, having children to avoid being in an elder care facility or to have someone to take care of you is inherently selfish and, quite frankly, entitled thinking. I completely agree. This woman says, mother of two here, do not have kids if you don't want them and never let others push their agendas on you. And this argument from others is ridiculous. Kids dump their parents in nursing homes all the time. I feel this exact way. Do not have kids simply to avoid going to a nursing home. Danny Work says, childless people are in such denial. She's the type of person that will push women into having kids, and that is where regret comes in. When you have a kid that you really didn't want, but society is pushing you, these traditional boxes are pushing you, and then you end up with regret. This person says most nursing home residents were uninvolved parents, and as a result, they have uninvolved children. Don't have kids simply to have them, especially if you're not wanting to be all in. Being a parent is a very time and energy and resource heavy position, and most of the time is underappreciated. So you have to be willing to do that. Otherwise, if you're not, just don't do it. This person says you don't need kids, you need community. And even if you have kids, you need community as well. This person says, hi there, worked in a nursing home as a social worker, and I can tell you people with kids make up the majority of beds, and the kids can't even be bothered to visit or return calls about their loved ones' care. So if you have kids because you expect them to be your caregivers, you're playing yourself. And like someone said in under her comment that the majority of people do have kids, so it would make sense that the majority of people in nursing homes have kids. However, these children, if they were loved and supported, should be able to be bothered to take a phone call or visit or write or something. So that brings me to this woman's post. She is reading some of the regretful parents posts in the regretful parents subreddit. Do not have kids simply to have them, because that regret is terrible. And I can't imagine being the children of these types who didn't really want kids or who regret having them. So don't have kids if you don't want to have kids.
Welcome back to my series where I read posts from the subreddit entitled Regretful Parents. My intentions behind sharing these posts is threefold. First, I believe we do young women a disservice by not telling them the whole truth about motherhood. So often it is romanticized by the media, by society, by even mothers themselves, and it leads to many women going into motherhood blindly and not understanding what mom life looks like on a day to day basis. Two, moms are shamed for sharing any thoughts about motherhood that aren't positive, and that needs to end. By sharing these posts, we can start to normalize talking about the whole experience of motherhood, not just the wonderful parts. And three, for the women who have experienced these thoughts and feelings to know that they are not alone and that they should not feel ashamed. Here we go. This first post right here is the reason I'm making this into a series. This woman said, I learned about this sub from a TikTok video and I ran to it faster than Usain Bolt. My daughter is 10 and I've been harboring this regret since I was about 20 weeks pregnant. Seeing this community having 119,000 members made me feel validated. While I wish we weren't in this position, the isolation I've dealt with has been crippling, and I'm glad to not feel so alone anymore. That's heartbreaking to me. This mom goes on to say, being a mom has been such a thankless job. My daughter expects so much from me, including taking care of her dad, even though he's a grown ass man who should be helping us instead. She complains constantly about my shortcomings, but is never grateful for what I have done for her. I hate this resentment and regret I harbor, but I'm not sure it will ever go away. If it ever does, I think it'll be too late and I'll already be a shell of who I used to be. I just hope my daughter goes on to have a better life than I have, to make all these years of hell and emotional turmoil worth it. This one is actually from a dad. It says 8 to 10 p.m. That's it. That's all I get. I walk the dog, drink a beer, watch something short, or read. Then, if I don't get sleep, the next day is harder. When do I do hobbies, play sports, hang out with friends, enjoy time with my wife, and maybe even have sex? Nah, she's asleep. What the fuck is this? Another person says, I never thought I'd live to see the day where I would actually dread Fridays. I had my son late at 38 years old. He's my first and only child. I do not want more kids. He's almost 2 now, and he's a handful. Like, he's difficult, to the point that not even my parents want to babysit him anymore. Even his daycare teachers have complained to me about his behavior. I'm getting him evaluated for delays like autism. I spent 38 years child free, and looking back, I realize it was absolute bliss. I used to always look forward to Fridays because relaxing weekend. Now I hate Fridays. I would rather be at work dealing with my daily quotas and a pushy boss than dealing with my son 24 hours a day. I honestly never thought I would hate Fridays. I'm literally hiding in the bathroom from my son as I write this, and he's sitting outside the door trying to open it. The weekends are exhausting for me, and I never get to go out and have fun anymore. The whole thing sucks. Am I a bad mom for not wanting to deal with my difficult toddler all weekend? Maybe. But I know this is not how I imagined parenthood would be. This is not fun or enjoyable at all. Another woman writes, I just genuinely hate motherhood. I hate my kids. I mean, I love them because they're my kids, but I hate them because they've made my life miserable. I wanted a family. I planned all my kids. I have 3. And I was fine with the sleepless nights and the mess and chaos and craziness for the first several years. In the last few years, though, I'm just done. I'm over it. Thing is, they're all autistic. Not severely by any means, but autism doesn't have to be severe to make your life miserable. And that's what's happened. Nothing's ever okay. There's always a problem, always a sensory issue or something. Do something to help fix one kid's issue, and it triggers an issue for another one. I'm over it. I hate my life. I could handle the chaos and mess and craziness if there was even one redeeming thing about being their mother, but there's not. Can't go on family outings or activities because autism. Have to stick to a strict schedule because autism. No spur of the moment, hey, why don't we go here or do this? Nope, because autism. I regret having them. I miss having time with my husband. I miss having freedom. Another woman writes, I'm the mother of an almost 7-year-old. Every day I'm nauseous thinking about how life was before I had him. It's now an endless hellscape. I can't sleep. I can't eat. My mental health is destroyed. There's zero chance at happiness anymore. Death is the only escape. I made the wrong choice, and now it's a life sentence of misery. I can't even put into words how horrific this is and how unbearable the regret. There's no going back. This one is about a child with ADHD, and I see a lot of posts from parents with kids who have ADHD. She says, I have an ADHD kid who doesn't have any care in the world about how his behavior affects others. I just don't know how to cope with my kid anymore. I would honestly consider giving them up, but my husband would never do it. Sometimes I feel like the only way to make things better is to get a divorce so that I at least wouldn't have my kid around all the time and I would get a break every other weekend. My life is a nightmare. I dread every morning that I wake up. I don't know what I did to deserve this crap life. I did all the good things and had a healthy pregnancy. Neither my husband or I have ADHD. Why the fuck did this happen to us? Does anyone hate the school/nursery holidays as much as me? I literally feel physically ill at the thought of having to deal with them, with the two of them all day for 2 weeks, and I have a lot of family help. Mom of two, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. God, I miss my old life so much. Every single fucking day, just constant stress. It's so bad my face twitches like crazy. My heart constantly palpitates. I feel so dizzy, and I have panic attacks constantly. I think because I haven't had a single night where I haven't been woken up multiple times in the night in almost 4 years. I miss the days when I could relax and play video games in the evening. Now it's a debate between going to bed early to prepare for the constant night wakings or having a pathetic hour or two to myself to do something I actually enjoy for once, but being even more tired tomorrow. I don't have any support around me either, except my mom and brother. They sometimes they sometimes sit for my oldest for a few hours a week, but it's not enough. But they laugh at me when I ask for more help because you're the mom, you chose this life, your responsibility. That's true, but also I can't fucking cope with this at all. Honestly, just fuck my life. Respect to those who have even more kids than this. I don't know how you do it. I think I'm a good parent. I sacrifice everything in my life for them, my sanity and health for their happiness. But they bring me no joy. And if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have it this way. These posts make me so sad because these parents, these moms feel utterly alone and they're ashamed of the way they feel and they want to love their kids, but they feel as though they've made this huge mistake and they have years of this. They have the rest of their life to deal with regretting their decisions. And that is why I want to make sure that when women talk about motherhood, they tell the whole story. Yes, it's wonderful at times. Yes, it can be the most rewarding and fulfilling thing you will ever do. And it's okay to say that. And these women undoubtedly love their children, but we have to also talk about the really hard parts, the challenges, the days and nights where you don't know if you can keep going. You don't know if you want to keep going. You don't know if it's worth it. You don't know if you've made the biggest mistake of your life. Let's talk about all that in addition to the wonderful moments.
Comments under her post, it's so damaging to grow up with a mom that feels this way too. It's a big reason I don't want kids because I'm afraid I'd be miserable as my mom. This person says, the day it finally clicked that I didn't have to be a mother saved my life. I no longer dreaded the rest of my life. And Leah says, I'm a nanny and quite literally cannot imagine not getting to come home to my quiet apartment for a few hours after my shift. This person says, I don't think my mom regrets having us, but I do see how much more happy and fulfilled she is since my sister and I have become adults. Tierney says, I have 3 years until my youngest finishes high school. At that point, I'm taking my dog and moving to Europe. This person, Elena Smale, says, this is why we need social media. Real life needs to be shared so we can make smarter, more informed decisions. Absolutely. Don't do this unless this is something that you really want. Being a mother is cool. Being child free is cool. But doing so and creating your own life is what is best. Do what's best for you. This person says, I hate being a mom, but I love my son more than life. It's very conflicting and a difficult thing. Vegas Vegan Mindy says, 45 and child free. Witnessed my sisters and friends have kids and lose themselves. Knew it wasn't for me. So glad for my choices. Jewel says, I used to work at a daycare and parents would drop their kids off as soon as we opened and picked them up as late as possible for this reason. Imagine being that child. Imagine like when I would see these parents get so excited because winter or spring break was over because they could be rid of their kids, or like when parents finally got to put their kids back in school because the COVID restrictions lifted, because they did not want to deal with these people that they helped create. Now I'm going into this one where women are talking about the fact that they do not want to actually be in relationships. People are shaping their own existence. They are not simply doing life by the book or because of traditional roles or because somebody else said they were supposed to. Women are making these choices, and some women are opting out of relationships, they're opting out of marriage, or they're doing things on their own terms, like the living apart together situation where they live in their home, their man lives over there. Because being in some of these relationships is akin to like being a servant. And lots of men simply are not getting the fact that women are saying, I'm good. I'm good being single. And like I use other women. I don't just simply stay in Black women's spaces. I use other races because, people need to know that this is across the board, that women are opting out.
Men can't believe that women are single by choice because men aren't single by choice. They may be finding women to go on dates with, but nothing's sticking. And so they're lashing out at women saying things like, have fun being single or enjoy your cats. Sir, that's the whole point, is that I am having fun being single and I love my cats. And I also love my peace of mind, not having to be accountable to somebody who isn't really that interested. He's not interested in me and my life and things that I want and need out of life. He's interested in his own feelings of being alone and being single. And why can't women just do what he needs them to do? As men age alone, it is not good. Ask any hospice nurse or nursing home nurse or even hospital nurses. No one's visiting. And the men are not okay. But I'm finding that as I age, I am getting happier and happier with myself and my girlfriends and my family. And the idea of having to accommodate a man's insecurities or even securities is just less and less appealing. Us ladies are getting together. We're growing our friendships. We're doing things. And we're finding that we're happier than we've ever been. And men can absolutely not understand that. They want to be able to do less and less and know that there's a woman there to drive them to the hospital or organize their medications or just sit around and do whatever it is that they want to do and take up time and space in her life and accommodate him. And I would dare say, especially the men that are just doing a bunch of dating and saying that they're having a great time and nothing is sticking for them. The men that I know that are dating a bunch are looking for a permanent woman. They're not really happy with that lifestyle. Of course, they have to pretend, like that's the dream. But they're looking for the ride or die until they're 80 and they know that that person's going to be there to help them change their diapers. It's terrifying to them. Me and my girlies and my family, we know that we'll show up for each other because there's no expectation that we're going to change or that there's anything wrong with us. We're just doing what we want to do and enjoying each other's time and space. No one needs to change. But men get their hands on a woman that looks like she might stick around, and immediately he's got a list of things that he's going to need from her. So I say the same thing back to those men. Have fun being single. I happen to love it.
This man jumps in her comment section talking about, I can see her pain. Mindshift Alchemy says 18 months separated from a 17-year-long marriage. Interesting that the amount of health issues I had that have now disappeared now that I'm not in a constant state of stress, even as a single mom of 3. This person's name is Decenter Men, so obviously that person is not interested. But she says, I'm more interested in doing a Golden Girls when I'm old. Women and cats, so peaceful. This person says, I can't help but be reminded of the stat that showed that if women get sick, their husbands won't stick around. This person says, been single for about 2 years and started dating a guy a few months ago. Already he's questioning me having cats, my sleeping schedule, how I'm going to financially invest in our relationship. So Please understand that these women are like, we're talking, saying these things so that the red flags go off. She already consents that this man wants to interrupt her life. And women are saying that they would rather have peace of mind, healthy and balanced other things than be in a relationship. Jay at the bottom says, every breakup I have had, the guy said, who is he? They couldn't grasp that I was leaving them for nothing. No one, nada, me and my passport. This woman says, I'm 51, left my husband 10 years ago, happily single. I dated a nice guy, but realized I don't want a man, not even a nice one. I love my solitude. This person says, peace of mind and a balanced pH. Chef's kiss. And the last person that I took a screenshot of says, single life simply because society said so. Or I don't know what it's going to take to get through men's heads, all of this together. I want you guys to jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. How do you feel about the decisions that you have made for your relationship thus far? Go into what advice would you give for the ladies if you want coming behind you? Jump in the comments. You made it this far. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.